All right, so I think we're live now. So Felicia, well, everyone here in the group, so welcome. I have Felicia Grimes here. And Felicia, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing fantastic. I am super glad to be here with you today.
Awesome. Nice. Yeah, so how's your weather out there? You're in Dallas, right?
I live right outside the Dallas area, and it is so cold. I mean, I don't know what you're used to, but when it
Yep.
hits 30 or 40, it's chilly.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, I know. So I'm in Massachusetts, so I'm used to that.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually I like the cold weather. I'm kind of odd about that, but yeah. All right, so I'm really glad to have you here in the group. I'm excited to hear what you have to say about time management. Before we jump into that, though, I just want everyone that's in the group, if you're watching right now, just drop a comment down below. Drop hashtag live if you're watching this now. If you're watching this later, hashtag replay. Um, it, I think if you watch enough of these lives, you probably wonder why are people asking you to drop those comments in. But basically, what that does, it helps out with Facebook's algorithm to help with reach. That way, other people will see this in their newsfeed and then jump into the live and catch out what we're talking about here. So, anyways, so with that being said, Felicia, so while we're just kind of getting started here, I just wanted to kind of maybe talk a little bit about some easy stuff before moving into the topic at hand. So I understand that right now you're kind of busy, right? You're booking yourself for a bunch of lives that you're doing in multiple different groups this month.
Yes, I'm doing groups, I'm doing pages, business pages, personal pages, anywhere anybody wants to do a live. I am
Yeah.
completely open in whatever topic. We could discuss that. If you want to discuss spotlighting your business entity, hey, I'm open for that too.
Great, awesome. Yeah, so I'd love to have you back in the group so we can talk about some of those other topics. I know that tomorrow you have an early morning live, right? And it's talking about risk taking. Is that right?
Yes, I'm doing one with Anna L. Brothers, and we're going to be talking about why you should be a risk taker and the benefits of being a taker, and sometimes just taking that lead and just doing it.
Yeah, yeah. All right, I'll have to tune in for that. Fortunately, I don't have any other obligations at that time. I got something right before and something right after, so I'll be able to tune in and watch that.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah. Awesome. So, if you don't mind, what are some of the other topics that we'll be talking later? I don't know if you have anything other this week other than tomorrow and then the other live you're doing with me on Thursday.
We're going to do. I'm would actually have one that I'm very passionate about is rebooting. And sometimes when you're doing social media, you're working full time, you're doing so much multitasking. Sometimes you just have to take a little sabbatical, and that's what I did.
Yeah.
For about 2 weeks from social media, I wasn't totally disconnected, but I didn't do any lives because I had so much planning and development and background. And
Yeah.
so, also, we're going to do like DIY because it's holiday makeup time. So we're going to have those type of topics.
Yeah.
Stress management in the holiday season because a lot of people are dealing with grief and things of that nature. And then you have your kids saying, I want this, I want that. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably some money management tips. I was just talking to my husband and we were chatting about what are we gonna buy each other for like Christmas this year. We were like, I have everything I need. You have everything you need. I don't think we're gonna exchange gifts this year. I think it's gonna be the first year we're not gonna exchange gifts, and we're okay with that. So I'm going to bring everyday topics for everyday people,
Nice.
and
I like
then
that a lot.
I'll be doing different type of tutorials, how to start a Facebook Live. And those people that have never done a live, I'm going to be helping you along your journey. I've joined this group called Live Masters. And so you just go live every day. They have the question of the day. And that kind of will get people kind of started with the whole live concept. And then if they go live, if they want to go live with me and they've never done before, I have a little practice group. And so I'll work with you prior to the fact.
Awesome. So I'm glad you brought that up because I'd seen you posted a live. I think it was like maybe it was last night, I believe, and you were actually talking about that particular group. And I have a friend that I think would be great for that. So I'm going to try to pass that information along to my
Oh
friend.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, because sometimes people have difficulty trying to come up with a topic, and so they have a question of the day, and you can take that and they have it in the events location, and then you could just take other questions, and then that could be your live streaming. I mean,
Okay.
they have tons. Just keep going with it.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. So again, guys, so I don't know if you're just jumping into the live right now, but I'm pleased to be presenting Felicia Grimes here to be talking to me today about time management. She talked a little bit before, just briefly about holidays coming up and so forth. And when I reached out to Felicia and she said she wanted to talk about time management, I thought it's perfect, just because I mean, right now it's one of the most hectic times of the year. A lot of people are stressed out. I get stressed out right now. So I thought that this was really great for Felicia to kind of talk to us about time management, because not only will it help you with running your business if you're running a business, or if you're working your 9 to 5 but you want to develop a business at some point. So in addition to those two, but like just getting through your everyday life right now during the holidays, what Felicia has to talk to us about should help out with that. So to give you a little bit of background in terms of who Felicia is, so she's got a lot of roles that she's so she's a college professor, she's a life coach, social media trainer, and she's also passionate about personal development. So I think really like bits and pieces of each of those different professions that she's undertaken really kind of drives into what she's going to talk to us about in terms of time management. So again, I think it's really cool to have her here tonight. So I mean, speaking of this being a busy month, Felicia, I know that I had brought up earlier, but I don't know if anyone has missed it. But again, Felicia, you are going to be reaching out, or you've already reached out to a number of groups. You're going to be having a number of lives in those groups and on pages and so forth. So if anyone's watching this right now, if you're interested in trying to follow up with Felicia to find out what other topics she's talking about, we can drop a comment down below, and then we can get you in touch with Felicia so you can find out what else she's going to be talking about. So with that being said, I just want to kind of turn it over to you now, Felicia, so that way you can go ahead and get to the topic at hand in terms of time management.
Well, thank you so much, Chris, and I appreciate you inviting me for this opportunity to speak with your group, because this is something I'm passionate about. And so time management, we first want to think about and talk about what is time management. So many people really don't have a good definition of time management. Time management refers to managing your time effectively. And so you want to think about how you're utilizing your time in the most efficient and effective way. How are you organizing these bits of time? Sometimes you have 15 minutes, sometimes you have 30 minutes, sometimes you have an hour. And how are you utilizing that time? And how are you keeping yourself accountable for the duration of time that you have to complete a specific task? So I don't know about you, but I multitask with so much with, teaching face to face, online, doing all the social media stuff and all the extra things that I like to do. I mean, I just enjoy doing it. You have to kind of think about, because sometimes you have these moments where you feel overwhelmed by so many things on your calendar and your to-do list. You go, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to start it? Like, where am I going to begin with the process? So you have to kind of think about, okay, how am I going to approach the whole time management task? Because as you're saying, we're getting at the end of the year. Some people have the end of the year quarter job reports, things of that nature. Then you have your own home stuff. You got to go shopping for the kids, the wife, you got to make her happy, or your significant other. And so you have a lot on your plate. And so you want to plan out. So you have to become very task driven. So instead of you having this moment of like anxiety where you're going to just have a momentary meltdown, you have to kind of think about, okay, what am I going to do and how I'm going to do it? So whenever I have a moment or I have things on my list that are just outrageously long, I have a hot list. Okay.
Nice. Okay.
So let me discuss what a hot list is and what it does for you. A hot list will narrow down, like you may have a list of 20 things. Okay. You might not have the time to do all 20 in one day. What are the top 5 that you can do in one day that you'll be okay with doing? Like you can rest, you can go to sleep, and you can go like, I did the best I could. So you think about those top 5, your hot list. You complete the hot list. If you have any more time, then you can renegotiate with yourself. And you can say, well, I probably have time for 2 more. What are the next 2? Sometimes that happens because you just don't have time to do all 20. Life happens, sometimes the kids get sick, the wife is sick, she's got a tire blowout. Yeah, everybody got issues, okay? So it impacts your calendar, your schedule of events, your tasks that you said you were going to accomplish. And so you have to go back to that hot 5. I got this hot 5 idea for my husband because of something he mentioned one time, and I go, "That's brilliant. I'm gonna steal that. That's something good that I'm gonna take advantage of." And so I think about like at the end of the semester, I have grades because I'm a teacher, and so you may have 200 to 300 students time, maybe let's say 10 to 20 grades a student. Okay, that can be hairy if you have not been doing time management along the way. And so the hot list has saved my life so many times. And so I want you to think about what you can really accomplish, because that means that your top five, that you're committed with having a time frame. You just can't just say I'm going to do the top five and I'm going to spend like 50 hours on the top five. Okay, it's got to be reasonable amount of time to accomplish. It's got to be achievable. If it's not achievable, then it's not a top five, a hot five list. Okay, so that goes with your effective planning. Number two, setting goals and objectives. So if you have this task to do and you know it's going to take you a month to do it, why even put it on your calendar in terms of completing the whole task? Complete chunks and little nuggets of it, little parts of it. Because sometimes why people procrastinate is because they have to do a task they don't want to do. Think about, you have this project at work and it's just like overwhelming to you. You procrastinate on it. So if you said, I'm speaking to the choir right now. I know you do. So I want you to think about setting that goal for that task and say, okay, I'm going to do this particular component, and then I'm going to do the next component in 2 days later. Okay. Sometimes if we try to do too much, it's like those people that go back to school for their undergrad or master's doctoral level classes, or they go for training. You try to like squeeze too much in, and then you like overwhelmed. You go like, I don't want to do that. You don't want to do it because you're not motivated. Right. Because you just took on too much. Really? Okay. So you have to have that personal talk to yourself and say, I'm doing too much. Okay. Take a step back and regroup. I'm speaking from personal experience. Okay.
Yeah.
So the next one is setting your goals. So we kind of talked about briefly what you'll need to do is map out. That means, I used to get on my students about this, and I kind of still do now, because my adult students, they're so funny. They don't want to write anything down. You have an assignment. Do you expect me to like repeat this 1,000 times? Really? It's called get a calendar, old school if necessary. But in this digital world we live in, they have apps, and I have to share with them. We have Google Maps, not Google Maps, Google Calendar. You have all this like stuff at your fingertips, and you don't use them. Really? This is how I talk to my students. Really? And they just laugh at me. I'm like, okay, you forget about the summer if you want to. So, and that's just how I deal with it. But you want to think about, what are you doing to document, to serve as a checklist that you completed this task? Now, you tell me, what do you do? This is your time of moment of honesty.
Yeah, I know. So here's the thing. So historically, it was just all kind of in my head. Like I didn't have any sort of plan laid out, and it was a mishmash, but it worked for me up until I want to say 4-ish months ago. All right. Yeah. I mean, I got a lot going on, running businesses and so forth. So now what I'm doing a couple of different things. I kind of have a bit of a hot list like you're talking about. All right. I didn't call it a hot list, but I like that title. I like it a lot. I think it's weird how the mind thinks, but applying that title of hot list to it might actually make me adhere to it a little bit more. All right. But anyways, so I have something like that, but it's a running list of things that I think that I need to have done and things that I actually need to have done. But then I rank them out. And then what I'll do is each night I'll try to pull 5 off of that list. And that will be my action item list for that next day. Okay. And that's really technically, I guess you could say, my hot list. Now, what else do I do in terms of time management? I have, and I only started this a couple weeks ago, but I have on my calendar, I've blocked off different times of the day that I want to try to focus on. So I've learned, I've heard a number of people talk about this, and I thought, it's a great in practice. Maybe I'll do it at some point in time, but I just never did it. But I've actually started doing this now. I've blocked out different times where maybe I'll sit down and I'll decide, okay, for an hour, I'm going to work on this task alone, and that's it, nothing else. And then once that hour is completed, I'll move on to something else. And it works. It really and truly works, because your mind is just focused, laser focused on just that one task. You don't have your phone around, you're not checking your email or anything else like that, and you can get so much more done by committing yourself to just that one task for each hour block, half hour block, whatever it happens to be. So that's what I'm doing now.
You are a genius. You figured out block scheduling and you're successful at it. Mm-hmm.
Not a genius. I'm a follower. I followed everyone else before me that has been saying to do this, and they put it into practice. So, but thanks.
That's fantastic. That's good that you recognize that you had to regroup. To me that's one of the key ingredients is recognizing that you need to make some adjustments. That you need to regroup. A lot of people they'll just keep doing the same type of organizational pattern over and over and they're not getting the results. And so sometimes we, like because you are an entrepreneur and you do so many things, you have to have that time for development, planning, research, thinking things throughout, and then you have to develop things. And so you have to have all of these pieces and these components, and they have to kind of like fit together in a little groove. So you got to figure out what your groove thing is going to be. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
So tell me this, Chris. Do you delegate any of your responsibility to anybody?
That's a great question. So let me tell you this. Before I took on this new role in my life of being an entrepreneur, where I'd worked at before, I managed a team of independent, between 20 and 25 employees. And I wasn't really that great at delegating to other people. And it made me burn out on the job. Now, since then, I've learned, you know what? I do need to start delegating. So I am now starting to do that. I understand the value in delegating, whether that's trying to hand it off to someone that I'm working with closely internally or handing it off to someone externally. So if I'm looking to work with like a vendor or outsource something to someone else. So yeah, that is something that I'm definitely open to and implementing into my processes these days.
Okay, that's fantastic. So let's just take this to another step. Like let's take it to a personal level.
Okay.
Now, my husband's not here. Okay. I am an online shopper. He knows I have a UPS mailbox, but he has no idea to the degree that I buy stuff. Okay.
Okay.
So that's how I delegate because I don't like to go to the store to shop and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm going to start the whole grocery store. You know how you order your stuff and you
Yeah.
go drive and you pick it up because
Yeah.
I will overspend if I go to the store. He loves the store and it takes him 2 to 3 hours. Seriously.
Yeah.
But he comes back with some fantastic stuff, but he's going to meet 1,000 people at the grocery store.
Yeah.
I don't have that type of time. Okay. So I do Amazon. I just feel like, in this world of technology, sometimes you can delegate by utilizing all the different modern conveniences. I mean, also delegation could be, I remember when I was a kid, my dad used to like delegate chores. Like my mom asked him to do something and then they would like carry on to the kids. So, you think about like how you can delegate. Sometimes I do have to ask my husband for help because maybe I'm doing too much and I may need some help with some errands. So sometimes you got to think about how can you delegate? Can you get a friend to do certain things? Can you have a sister or a sibling that can help you out from time to time? So that's good to know that you have the delegation down pat. Yes.
Yeah, and I try to delegate some stuff like you were talking about, like to my sister. Like I try to get her to help out as well, and I can't get her to help me out, but working on
I
that.
got an answer to that because that's how I do my brother. You must pay me to help you.
Yeah,
I need a gift card. I need cash. I need a gadget. That's how you do it.
I've tried that.
And it doesn't work.
No, I hope she's not listening right now. I hope she's not on here.
You're talking too much. You're telling too much.
Yep.
Okay, just move on to a friend then.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
Okay, so let's move on to prioritizing tasks. So we talked about the hot five. So sometimes you have to know the difference between what's important and what's urgent. Some people waste time on something that's really not important, but because they want to delay and procrastinate on what's urgent. So sometimes if you just get it off your list, you will feel better. And I've noticed I've done that. If I just go ahead and do it, then I can just have that deep breath. It's over.
Yeah.
And sometimes we pressure ourselves because we try to overdo it. Sometimes we can be overachievers and want to be perfect. And sometimes it's just getting it out and then making tweaks if necessary. You had that same problem?
Sometimes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then the next one is spending the right time on the right activity. sometimes we go, okay, I'm going to stay on Facebook about 15 minutes, and you've been on there about, what, 1,500 hours. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm serious. Facebook is just a time waster at times. Now, I like to get on and check on people, to do certain things, check on groups, learn things, learn content. And sometimes I would have to give myself a timer and say, that's it. Because, you can go on into La La Land. I can go into a makeup group, and I'm in that makeup group 2 hours, and I go, I thought I was here like 20 minutes. So I mean, you want to make sure, like, if you're doing like true research, like you're Googling, you're doing things that's going to help your business, that you're really spending that quality time and not quantity time.
Yep.
So that's really important. So I want you to kind of think about, what do you think are a few little benefits of having like a structure in terms of time management? How can it help you in your life?
It certainly helps out with, my mindset, clearing my mind a little bit better in terms of knowing, all right, I'm on this day, I'm just going to be focused on X, Y, Z, and that's it. I know that there's something else I really need to get done, but I don't have time for it tomorrow. I'm going to hold that off until like Friday or something like that. It's easier to try to go about each day if I can block off the time in different chunks and allocate it to certain tasks and projects.
Well, I think it will help your stress level. It'll reduce it.
Yeah.
Because then you can have time to do like some other things, and then you can plan some of that like free time. I try to say, okay, I'm going to do X number of tasks because there's a sale online and I want to get to it. So that's a motivational thing. It's kind of like when we were kids, we were in school, you have to find ways to reward yourself. And so when you have good time management in place, you're more productive.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have a system in place, you're going to just be kind of always floundering every day and not getting certain things like accomplished. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, like for me, I have certain days or evenings that I do things with my husband. And then we have maybe like, we're kind of like old people sometimes. I say older, like just say older, that like to do movies. And so we have our movie evenings and our movie nights. That's our quality couple time. We don't go out and do things together. So, you still have to kind of find that balance in your time management schedule. That's what some people like. I used to be a workaholic. I'll work and, kind of boring in the other areas. But now I'm a little mixture. I try to balance it out. I try to see what my husband's schedule is going to be like, and then balance my time management about maybe around something important. Like he has a couple events for the holidays that he wants to go to, and so I got to get extra glammed up for, and so I have to pre-plan. So you want to think about like how other activities are going to impact your system.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Okay, I think I'm going to hold the rest of my tips and my other like information for our next visit on Thursday.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay. So let me ask you just a couple questions, and then
Okay.
I'll let you go for the evening. So, let's see. What do you think? I guess just to help out some of our audience here, what do you think is crucial to try to get it right in terms of sticking with a plan and then staying on track in terms of your time management?
I think first of all, you have to have accountability. Things have to be achievable. I think what happens, people try to overextend themselves,
Yeah.
overplan too many activities, trying to go to too many functions. You're just trying to do too much in a very short period of time. You need to streamline and determine what is a priority, what's urgent, what's important, what's not important. And because sometimes people have to learn to say no. That's a big time management issue. You have to say no. I used to say yes to everything. Now I say no, I don't have time, or let me get back to you. Let me see how it's going to fit in my schedule. Like I have certain TV shows that I watch. I mean, I DVR them now, but I used to be real adamant. Like my show's coming up. I don't have time to talk. I got to go phone with you. I mean, that's just, I mean, that's how no, it has to be very solid. No. And you don't have to give a person an excuse or reason why you're telling them no. Because if you keep saying yes to everything, it's going to impact your calendar, your schedule, and therefore you're up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and they're sleep resting. Okay, so kind of think about the reason why you want to start declining things and start saying no. And it doesn't. And I have a great coworker that always says this professionally. She says, "Does it fit within your ultimate goals? If it doesn't fit, don't take it on." I mean, that's my new philosophy. I don't have time to serve on certain committees. If it doesn't fit in my goal, no.
So
Sorry.
I like what you're saying right there, because I have chronically fought with the issue of trying to say no to someone. I've always said yes to something. Like someone needs help on something, I'm like one of the first ones there to try to help them out, which is a good thing, but it's also bad because then it closes me off to other opportunities that I need to be undertaking or just trying to get rest or whatever I need to be doing. But that being said, I ran across something the other day, and what you're talking about right now, it reminds me of it. And what that was one of the most powerful words in the whole language is the word no.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I had to learn that, and I had to learn it the hard way because my dad used to say, Felicia, you're a people pleaser. You can't turn anybody down. And like when I hit 40, I was like, oh no, I don't have time. Just like people would always talk about the 40s, how you would just shut people down. I don't have time for it. No, I'm not going. Even if I'm just sitting at home looking at TV, no, because you got to get that me time in too. Like when you're doing all of this development and you're doing so much, when did you have that like 20, 30 minute or hour to yourself a week? I mean, I think everybody needs that personal moment time. Like my husband, he'll go in his room, I'll go in mine. Like this personal time. He's watching ESPN that stays on forever, seems like. But that's his personal time. I'm not going to infringe on his personal time. So I think we all need to say no. We need to have boundaries, setting boundaries.
I like that. So I said I had a couple questions, but I'll just leave it there. I think that's probably sufficient for tonight, and then we'll just we'll pick up on Thursday. How's that sound?
That sounds fantastic.
All right, guys, if you're watching this on the replay later, just hashtag replay. That way, this will keep staying at the top of news feeds for people so they can watch it later. But Felicia, have a fantastic night. I really appreciate you coming in the group, and then everyone who's watching, have a great night as well. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.